The warning lights on the Soul's Dream flashed red in the darkness of space. Captain Hyanwu gripped his chair as another system failed. The ship shook violently, and sparks flew from damaged control panels. "Captain, we're losing life support," called out his engineer Tommen from across the bridge. His voice was calm but worried. "The main engine is completely dead. You have maybe 6 hours of air left." Hyanwu nodded slowly. He had known this moment would come. The old cargo ship had been breaking down for months. They had pushed her too hard, carried too many loads, stayed in space too long without proper repairs. Now they were paying the price. "What about the other crew members?" Hyanwu asked. "How Young is in the medical bay. She's unconscious from the gas leak earlier. The other two are in their quarters." "Everyone is alive for now," Taemin replied. Through the front window, Hyanwu could see their only hope. Nexus 7 trade station hung in space like a massive metal city. Its lights twinkled. In the darkness, ships of many different species moved around it like busy insects. "Send them a distress signal," Hyanwu ordered. "Request emergency docking and life support assistance." Taemin worked at his controls. After a few minutes, his face fell. "Captain, they're responding. It's not good news." The main screen flickered to life. A large alien face appeared. The creature had gray skin like stone and yellow eyes that glowed with anger. 2 small horns grew from its forehead. This was a Velkin, one of the warrior races that controlled this part of space. "I am Commander Vek, Var of Nexus 7, the alien," said in a deep, rough voice. "Your request for aid is denied. This station serves worthy species only. Humans are weak scavengers. Find help elsewhere." Hyanwu felt his heart sink, but he kept his face calm. He had dealt with proud alien races before. Getting angry would only make things worse. "Commander, we understand your position," Hyanwu said politely. "We do not ask for charity. We can pay for repairs and supplies." The CSUAS yellow eyes narrowed. "You have nothing we want, human. Your credits are worthless here. Your technology is primitive. Even your ship is ancient garbage." "Then perhaps we could work for payment," Hyanwu suggested. "My crew has many skills. Work." That, a harsh sound like grinding metal. "What could weak humans do that strong Velkins cannot do better? You are wasting my time." Hyanwu was quiet for a moment. He looked around the bridge at his dying ship. The air was already getting thin. He could see Taemin watching him with sad eyes. They both knew what this meant. "I understand, Commander," Hyanwu said finally. "I have one small request. Could you allow us to send a message to our families on Earth? They should know what happened to us." Something in Hyanwu's voice made Defar pause. The Velkin commander had expected anger or begging. Instead, this human spoke with quiet dignity. There was no fear in his voice, only acceptance. "You are not afraid to die?" Thekavar asked. "Death comes to everyone," Hyanwu replied. "I am sad that my crew will die because of my choices. But I am not afraid. I only want their families to know they died with honor." Thekavar stared at the human captain for a long moment. Then he cut the communication without another word. On the bridge of the Soul's Dream, Hyanwu turned to Taemin. "Prepare a message drone. Send word to Earth about our situation. Tell them we tried our best." "Yes, Captain," Taemin said quietly, but someone else had been listening to the conversation. In the lower levels of Nexus 7, a young Velkin female, named Nalush, worked in the engineering section. She had been monitoring the communication channels when the human distress call came in. Nalush was different from most Velkins. While her people valued strength and honor above all else, she also believed in helping others. Her older brothers often called her soft and weak. Her father said she would never be a true warrior. But when she heard Hyanwu speak, something stirred in her heart. This human faced death without begging or anger. He accepted his fate with dignity. He worried more about his crew than himself. These were qualities that Velkins respected. Even if they came from a supposedly weak species, Nalash looked around the engineering section. She was alone on the night shift. Commander Vekvar was probably in his quarters by now. She could Help the humans without anyone knowing? It would be dangerous. If she was caught helping against direct orders, she would be punished severely, maybe even exiled from Velkan space. But she couldn't let these beings die when she had the power to save them. Nalash gathered some basic repair tools and life support canisters. She also took emergency food rations from the supply room. It wasn't much, but it might buy the humans a few more days. She loaded everything into a small maintenance pod and launched from the station. The Soul's Dream was easy to find.
The old
ship was drifting slowly, its engines dark and cold. When Nalash docked with the human ship, she was surprised by what she found. Despite their desperate situation, the crew had maintained perfect order. Everything was clean and organized. The humans treated her with respect and gratitude. It's not the fear she usually saw from other species. Captain Hyanwu met her at the airlock. He was smaller than she expected, with kind eyes and graying hair. When he saw the supplies she brought, his face showed deep emotion. "Why are you helping us?" he asked in careful Velkan words. "'Cause it is right," Nalash replied simply. Hyanwu was quiet for a moment. Then he performed a perfect Velkan bow of respect, something few non-Velkans knew how to do properly. "Your kindness will not be forgotten," he said. Nalash worked quickly to repair the most critical systems. She couldn't fix everything, but she gave them working life support and basic engine power, enough to reach the next system where humans were welcome. As she prepared to leave, Hyanwu stopped her. "What is your name?" he asked. "Nalush," she replied. "Nalush," Hyanwu repeated carefully. "I will remember." The young Velkan returned to the station before dawn. She thought no one would ever know what she had done. She was wrong. Someone had been watching the security monitors. The next morning, Commander Dekvar called her to his office. His yellow eyes burned with anger. "You disobeyed direct orders," he said coldly. "You helped the weak humans against my explicit refusal. This is treason." Nalash stood straight and proud. "Yes, Commander, I helped them." "Why?" Dekvar demanded. "'Cause they faced death with honor. 'Cause their captain cared more about his crew than himself. Because helping others is not weakness." This face grew darker. "You are relieved of duty. You will be demoted and transferred to waste management. If you ever disobey orders again, you will be exiled forever." Nalash accepted her punishment without complaint. She had saved 5 lives. That was worth any price, as the Soul's Dream limped away from Nexus 7. Captain Hyanwu made a promise to himself. Someday, somehow, he would repay the young Velkan's kindness. He didn't know it yet, but that promise would change the galaxy forever. 6 months had passed since the Soul's Dream barely escaped death. At Nexus 7, now the same old cargo ship approached the station again, but this time it was not alone. 3 other human vessels followed behind it, their hulls gleaming with fresh repairs and new equipment. On the bridge of the Soul's Dream, Captain Hyanwu watched the familiar station grow larger on his screen. Beside him stood Dr. So-young, the ship's medical officer who had recovered fully from the gas leak incident. Engineer Taiman worked at his station, but his equipment was far better than before. "Captain, the station is requesting our identification," reported Taiman. "Send them our ship codes. Tell him Captain Hyanwu requests permission to dock. Say that I have business with Engineer Nalash," Hyanwu replied. The response came quickly. Commander Dekvar's harsh face appeared on the screen. His yellow eyes showed surprise when he recognized the human captain. "You have returned," Dekvar said. "I did not expect to see you again. Most species who are refused aid here never come back. We had unfinished business, Commander," Hyanwu said politely. "I would like to speak with Engineer Nalash if possible." This expression grew cold. That individual is no longer an engineer. She was demoted for disobeying orders. She now works in waste management on level 7. Her shift ends in 2 hours, I see. "Thank you for the information, Commander." "What do you want with her?" Dekvar asked suspiciously. "I have something that belongs to her," Hyanwu answered simply. After receiving docking permission, the Soul's Dream attached to the station. Hyanwu and his crew made their way through the busy corridors. Many aliens stared at them with curiosity. Humans were still rare in this part of space. They found level 7 in the deepest part of the station. The air here smelled bad, and the walls were stained with years of neglect. This was where the station's garbage and waste were processed. It was hard, dirty work that most Velkans considered beneath their dignity. Nalash was working alone when they found her. She wore a simple gray uniform instead of the proud engineering color she once had. Her hands were dirty, and her face looked tired. When she saw Hyenwu, she stopped working and stared in amazement. "Captain Hyenwu," she said in disbelief, "you are alive." "Thanks to you," Hyenwu replied with a warm smile. "We all survived because of your kindness." Nalash looked around nervously. "You should not be here. If Commander Thekvar finds out you were talking to me, there will be trouble." "Let me worry about that," Hyenwu said. "I came here to give you something." From a large bag, Hyenwu carefully removed a small metal container. Inside were 3 crystalline energy cores that glowed with blue light. Nalash gasped when she saw them. "Are those real quantum energy cores?" she whispered. "Grade A military specifications," confirmed Dr. So-young. "The highest quality available." Nalash shook her head quickly. "I cannot accept these. They must be worth a fortune. My family could not afford such things, even if we saved money for 100 years. "They are worth about 50,000 galactic credits each," Hyenwu said calmly. "But they are yours now." "I do not understand." "Why would you give me something so valuable?" Hyenwu smiled. "Because your small kindness saved much more than just our lives. After we left here, we were able to rescue a colony ship that was stranded in the void sector. 300 people were on that ship, and we helped a research station that was under attack by space pirates. We saved dozens more lives there." He pulled out a datapad and continued. "We also made contact with several other human ships. We shared the coordinates of safe routes and friendly ports. Because we survived, we were able to help many others survive too." Nalash listened with wide eyes. She had never imagined that her simple act of kindness could lead to so much good. "This is how humans think," Dr. So-young explained. "When someone helps us, we do not just help them back, we'll help others too. We call it paying it forward." "These energy cores," Nalash protested, "they are too much." Taman stepped forward with another bag. "There is more," he said. "Complete technical schematics for human quantum drive technology, blueprints for advanced life support systems, medical research data. All of it is yours." Nalash looked at the data crystals in shock. "This knowledge could change Velkan engineering forever." "Why are you giving this to me?" "Because you showed us kindness when you had every reason not to," Hyenwu said. "We risked your career and your freedom to save strangers. It's how humans respond to kindness." Before Nalash could reply, heavy footsteps echoed in the corridor. Commander Thekvar appeared with 4 Velkan guards. His face was dark with anger. "What is happening here?" he demanded. "Humans are not allowed in restricted areas." Hyenwu turned to face the commander calmly. "He came to return something that belonged to Engineer Nalash." "She's not an engineer anymore," Thekvar growled. "She is a waste worker because she disobeyed my orders." "Then perhaps you should reconsider her position," Hyenwu suggested. "She is about to become the most valuable person on this station." Thekvar noticed the energy cores and data crystals for the first time. His yellow eyes widened with shock. "Where did you get those?" "You earned them," Dr. So-young replied. "Through honest trade and helping other species? We are giving them to Nalash as a gift." "A gift?" Thekvar could not believe what he was hearing. "What do you want in return?" "Nothing," Hyenwu said simply. "That is impossible. No one gives away such wealth for nothing. What is your real purpose here?" Hyenwu looked directly into Thekvar's eyes. 6 months ago, your engineer showed kindness to dying strangers. She asked for nothing in return. She saved our lives at great risk to herself. This is how humans honor such kindness." Thekvar stared at the humans in confusion. In Velkan society, everything was about power and honor. Every action had a purpose. Every gift came with obligations. The idea of giving valuable things away without expecting anything back was completely foreign to him. "You were trying to trick us somehow," he said suspiciously. No tricks, Commander, Hyenwu replied. We simply believe that kindness deserves to be rewarded. Other Velkans had gathered in the corridor to watch this strange conversation. Word was spreading quickly through the station that humans had returned with incredible gifts for the disgraced waste worker. Nalash finally found her voice. Captain Hyenwu, I am grateful beyond words, but I cannot accept these gifts. That it would not be right. Why not? Asked Soyoung. Because I am nobody important. I am just a failed engineer who cleans garbage. These gifts should go to someone worthy. Hyenwu stepped closer to her. Save 5 lives when you had nothing to gain and everything to lose. That makes you the most worthy person I know. He turned to address the Ekvar and the growing crowd of Velkans. On Earth, we have a saying. Judge a person not by their position, but by their actions when no one is watching. Your Nalash acted with honor when she thought no one would ever know. She disobeyed direct orders, Thekvar said, but his voice had less anger than before. She chose compassion over obedience. She chose to save lives over following rules. These are the actions of a true leader. Hyenwu placed the energy cores in Nalash's hands. These are yours. Use them wisely. And remember that small acts of kindness can change the universe in ways you never imagined. As the humans prepared to leave, Thekvar called after them. Wait, I must know. What kind of species gives away such wealth for nothing? Hyenwu turned back with a gentle smile. The kind that believes kindness is the most valuable thing in the galaxy, Commander, and the kind that never forgets a friend. As they walked back to their ship, Nalash stood holding the energy cores with tears in her eyes. Round her, other Velkans whispered among themselves. Something had changed in that dirty corridor on level 7. Something that would soon spread. Far beyond Nexus-7. The humans had shown them that there was another way to live, a way based on kindness instead of strength, on giving instead of taking. It was a lesson that would reshape their understanding of what it truly meant to be strong. The news of what happened at Nexus 7 spread across Velkan space like wildfire. Stories of humans giving away priceless technology for nothing reached every clan and every world. In the great halls of the Velkan homeworld, the Council of Clans gathered to discuss this strange behavior. Elder War Chief Gorman stood before the assembled leaders. He was ancient even by Velkan standards, with scars covering his gray skin and eyes that had seen 1,000 battles. His voice echoed through the stone chamber like thunder. These humans mock us with their false generosity, he declared. No. Species gives away wealth without hidden purposes. They are trying to make us weak with their talk of kindness. Many clan leaders nodded in agreement. The Velkans had built their civilization on strength and honor. The idea that someone would help others without gaining power in return seemed impossible to them. But not everyone agreed. Commander the Ikfar had traveled from Nexus 7 to speak to the council. He stood up slowly, choosing his words carefully. Honored War Chief, I have seen these humans with my own eyes. I believe their actions are genuine. They truly seem to value kindness above profit. Gorman's yellow eyes blazed with anger. You have been fooled, Dadvar. These humans are clever deceivers. I will prove their true nature with a test. The old warrior turned to address the full council. If humans truly value kindness over strength, they will help even their enemies. I propose we challenge them to aid the Chitin Swarm. A shocked silence filled the chamber. The Chitin Swarm were the most feared enemies in known space. For 300 years, they had attacked every species they encountered. Their insect-like warriors showed no mercy and accepted no surrender. Entire star systems had been consumed. By their endless hunger for expansion, the Chitin face extinction from a plague, Gorman continued. They are quarantined in the dead zone, slowly dying. No sane species would help them. If the humans refuse, we will know their kindness is false. If they accept, they will either die or learn the truth about the universe. The council voted quickly. The test was approved by an overwhelming majority. 2 weeks later, Captain Hyenwu received the challenge aboard the Soul's Dream. He had been joined by Dr. So-young, ship's medical officer, and engineer Taemin. The 3 of them read the Velkan message in silence. They want us to help the Chitin Swarm, So-young said quietly. The same creatures that destroyed the Harmony Colony last year, The same ones that killed thousands of innocent people. Taman shook his head in disbelief. Captain, this has to be a trap. The chitin are in quarantine because they carry a deadly plague. Even if we wanted to help them, getting close would mean death. Hyanwu studied the star charts showing the dead zone. It was a region of space that all civilized species avoided. Ships that entered rarely returned, and those that did brought only horror stories. The Velkans think we will refuse, he said finally. They believe our kindness only extends to those who can help us in return. Maybe they are right, Taman replied. The chitin have never shown mercy to anyone. Why should we risk our lives for them? Dr. Soyoung was quiet for a long moment. Then she spoke in a soft voice. Because they are dying, and we might be able to help. Both men looked at her in surprise. Soyoung had lost friends in chitin attacks. She had every reason to hate them. Became a doctor to save lives, she explained. Not just human lives or friendly lives, but all lives. If we only help those who help us, then we are no different from any other species. Hyanwu nodded slowly. The Velkans are testing our character. They want to know if our kindness is real or just another form of politics. And what if it gets us killed? Taman asked. Then we die knowing we tried to do the right thing, Hyanwu replied. Send a message to the Velkan Council. Tell them we accept their challenge. 3 days later, the soul's dream entered the dead zone. The space around them looked empty and lifeless. Stars seemed dimmer here, as if the plague had somehow affected the light itself. Their first contact with the chitin came without warning. Massive bioships surrounded them, their living hulls pulsing with sick colors. The creatures that built these vessels were clearly dying, but they were still dangerous. A communication channel opened. The voice that came through was like the sound of grinding bones mixed with angry insects. Human ship, you enter forbidden space. You will die now. We come in peace, Hyanwu responded. We have heard that your people are suffering from a plague. We are doctors and engineers. We want to help. The silence that followed lasted for several minutes. When the voice returned, it carried a note of confusion. Help. This word has no meaning. You are food. We are hunters. There is nothing else. Dr. Soyoung stepped forward. We are not food. We are healers. Please, let us speak with your leaders. We may be able to cure your sickness. Impossible. No cure exists. The death sickness takes all. Soon the great swarm will end. This is acceptable. Nothing's impossible until you try, Hyanwu said firmly. Give us a chance. If we fail, you can kill us then. After another long pause, the chitin ships began to move. The soul's dream was escorted deeper into their territory. Past the wreckage of 1,000 battles and the bones of dead worlds, they were brought to the largest bioship anyone had ever seen. It was the size of a small moon, its surface covered with towers and spires that looked like they had grown rather than been built. This was the heart ship of the chitin swarm, home to their queen mind. Inside the ship, the humans walked through corridors that pulsed like living tissue. The air was thick and hard to breathe. Everywhere they looked, they saw chitin warriors dying from the plague. The proud insect creatures lay curled up in pain, their chitinous shells cracked and leaking. Finally, they were brought before Queen Mind Kleekter herself. She was enormous, the size of a small building, with hundreds of eyes and claws that could crush metal. But even she showed signs of the sickness. Her great body shook with fever and several of her eyes had gone dark. So, she said in a voice like breaking glass, the soft meat creatures come to watch us die. Do you enjoy our suffering? No, Dr. Soyoung replied honestly. We come to end it if we can. Kleekter laughed, a horrible sound that echoed through the chamber. End it? Small meat thing. This plague has killed billions of my children. It cannot be stopped. It cannot be cured. Even if it could, why would you help us? We are your enemies. We have destroyed your colonies and eaten your people. Hyanwu stepped forward. Because you are in pain, and pain is something we understand. Because every life has value, even lives that have done terrible things. And because maybe, if we help you, you might choose a different path. The queen mind stared at him with her many eyes. You are either very brave or very stupid, meat creature. Probably both, Hien Wu admitted. Will you let us try? Claker was quiet for a long time. Round them, sick chitin warriors watched and waited. Finally, the great creature spoke. You may try, humans. When you fail and die, at least you will have provided us with a final meal. Dr. Soyoung opened her medical kit and began to examine the nearest sick warrior. What she found made her gasp. In horror and understanding, Captain, she whispered, this is not a natural plague. Someone did this to them on purpose. This is a biological weapon. The implications hit all 3 humans at the same time. If this was an artificial plague, it could be modified to attack other species too. By helping the chitin, they might be saving more than just their enemies. They might be saving everyone, as Dr. Soyoung began her work. With Tommen helping to analyze the plague structure, Yanwu realized that the Velkans had given them a test that was more important than anyone had imagined. The question was not just whether humans would help their enemies. The question was whether they would be smart enough and strong enough to save them. Dr. Soyoung worked without rest for 3 days. Her hands moved carefully over the dying chitin warrior, taking samples and running tests. The creature lay still, breathing in short gasps. Its shell was cracked in dozens of places, leaking a green fluid that smelled like decay. This is incredible, she whispered to Captain Hien-Wu. The plague is not just killing them, it is rewriting their genetic code. Someone designed this weapon specifically to target chitin biology. Engineer Taemin looked up from his portable laboratory. He had been analyzing the plague samples since they arrived. Captain, I found something else. This weapon has a timer built into it. After it kills all the chitin, it will start changing. It will become able to infect other species too. Hien-Wu felt cold fear run through his body. How long do we have? Maybe 6 months before it mutates. Then it could spread to humans, Velkans, everyone. Whoever made this weapon planned to kill the entire galaxy. Queen Mind Kleater had been listening to their conversation. Her massive body trembled with pain, but her many eyes were focused and angry. So we are not the only target, she said in her grinding voice. Someone wants all thinking creatures to die. They used us as the first test. It appears that way, Dr. Soyoung replied, but there is something else. Something I do not understand yet. She pulled up her medical scans on a small screen. The images showed the internal structure of chitin bodies. Your people's biology is different from what our records show. You have extra nerve clusters throughout your bodies. They seem to be connected to pain sensors. Of course we feel pain, Clactor said impatiently. All living things feel pain. No, this is different. Your people feel pain constantly, even when healthy. Your entire nervous system is designed to experience chronic suffering. It has been this way for generations. The Queen Mind was quiet for a long moment. Around them, sick chitin warriors stopped their weak movements to listen. The endless burning. Clactor said finally, it is what we call the pain that never stops. We thought all creatures lived with such suffering. Dr. Sa-Young shook her head sadly. Most species only feel pain when something is wrong. It is a warning system, but your people live in constant agony. That would explain many things. Explain what? Asked the Queen Mind. Your aggression, your need to attack others. Pain changes how the brain works. Constant suffering makes creatures desperate and angry. You attack others because you are always in torment. Taemin had been working on his equipment while listening to this conversation. Suddenly he looked up with excitement. Dr. Soyoung, I think I found something. The plague is attacking the same nerve clusters that cause the chronic pain. If we can cure the plague, we might be able to fix their pain problem at the same time.
Yes.
That possible? Hien-Wu asked. The plague is using a genetic virus to rewrite their biology. We could modify that same virus to repair the damaged nerve clusters, instead of destroying them. It would be like turning a weapon into medicine. Dr. Soyoung stared at the data on her screen. It might work. But it would take time to develop the cure, and we would need to test it carefully. How much time, Queen Mind? Clactor asked weakly. Several weeks, maybe longer. We do not have weeks. The plague kills more of my children every day. Soon, there will be none left to save. Hyenwu stepped forward. Then we work faster. Dr. So-young, what do you need? But I need chitin bioengineers who understand their own biology better than I do. And I need them to trust us enough to work together. Collector made a sound that might have been laughter. Trust. Humans want my people to trust them. We are enemies. Trust is impossible. Not impossible, Dr. So-young said quietly. Difficult, yes, but not impossible. We are here. Are we not? We came to help you even though you have attacked our people. If we can take that risk, perhaps you can too. The Queen Mind studied the small human with her many eyes. You are either very wise or very foolish, meat creature. I prefer to think of myself as hopeful. So-young replied with a small smile. Over the following days, something unprecedented happened aboard the chitin Heart ship. Human doctors worked side by side with insect bioengineers. The two species shared knowledge and techniques that had been developed over thousands of years at first. The cooperation was difficult. The chitin workers were suspicious and hostile. They expected the humans to betray them or try to make the plague worse. But as days passed, and the humans continued to work tirelessly to save chitin lives, attitudes began to change. Engineer Taemin worked closely with a chitin bioengineer named Skrith. The insect creature was smaller than the warriors, with multiple arms that could manipulate equipment with incredible precision. Your technology is crude but effective, Skrith told Taemin one day. You use simple solutions for complex problems. Well, sometimes simple is better, Taemin replied. Complex solutions break more easily. Skrith tilted his insect head in a gesture that might have been agreement. This is wisdom. The Great Swarm has always chosen complex solutions. Perhaps this is why we suffer. Meanwhile, Dr. So-young made a discovery that changed everything. While examining the nerve clusters that caused chronic pain, she found that they were not natural. They had been artificially added to chitin biology thousands of years ago. Someone did this to your people on purpose, she told Queen Mind Clactor. Your ancestors were modified to feel constant pain. It was done so long ago that you forgot. It was not natural. The Queen Mind's massive body shook with rage. Who would do such a thing? I do not know. But whoever did it wanted to create a species of permanent warriors, beings so tormented that they could never know peace. They turned your people into weapons. Then we are victims too, Clactor said slowly. All this time, we thought we were strong predators. But we were just tools being used by someone else. Double quotes, Dr. So-young nodded sadly. And now, someone has decided your usefulness is over. The plague is meant to dispose of you now that you are no longer needed. This revelation changed how the chitin viewed themselves and their history. For the first time in centuries, they began to question their endless aggression. If their pain was artificial, perhaps their need to attack others was artificial too. After 2 weeks of intensive work, Dr. So-young and her chitin partners developed a cure. It was not just a treatment for the plague, but a complete genetic repair system that would eliminate both the artificial plague and the artificial pain. The first test subject was a young chitin warrior named the Conus. He had been dying from the plague and suffering from the worst chronic pain anyone had seen. When they gave him the cure, the results were immediate and dramatic. The plague symptoms disappeared within hours. But more importantly, for the first time in his life, the Canis experienced what it felt like to live without constant agony. The young warrior stood up slowly, moving his limbs with wonder. His mandibles clicked in amazement. The burning is gone, he whispered. I feel ... peace. Otter. Chitin gathered around him, staring in disbelief. Peace was not a concept they understood. But seeing the Conus move without pain, seeing him stand without aggression, they began to glimpse what their lives could be like. Queen Mind Clactor watched this transformation with all her eyes. When she spoke, her voice was different than before. Softer, more thoughtful. Human So-young, she said. You have given my people something we never knew existed. How do we repay such a gift? Dr. So-young looked tired but happy. You do not repay it. You pass it forward. When you encounter others who are suffering, you help them. When you meet those who are different from you, you choose understanding instead of violence. But we are warriors. Fighting is all we know. Then, learn something new, Captain Hyenwu suggested. Use your strength to protect instead of destroy. Use your weapons to defend the innocent instead of attacking them. As the cure spread through the chitin population, an amazing transformation began. Without constant pain driving them to aggression, the insect beings discovered they could feel other emotions. Curiosity, compassion, even joy became possible. For them, the species that had been the terror of the galaxy for 3 centuries was learning what it meant to be at peace. And it was all because 3 humans had chosen to help their enemies instead of leaving them to die. But their work was not finished. Someone had created both the artificial pain and the plague weapon. Someone who wanted to control or destroy entire species. The question now was whether the newly peaceful chitin would help find this hidden enemy, or whether old habits would prove stronger than new hope. News of what happened in the dead zone spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. The impossible had occurred. Humans had not only cured the chitin plague, but had somehow transformed the most feared species in known space into peaceful beings. On the crystalline world of Shardhome, the geometric prism folk received this news with their characteristic logical analysis. Their crystal bodies reflected light in patterns that showed deep thought. For centuries, they had fought bitter wars with the void swimmers. Dark creatures that lived in the empty spaces between stars, Elder Crystal Lumera stood before the Prism Council, her faceted body glowing with silver light. The humans have shown us something we thought impossible. They healed their enemies and turned them into allies. Perhaps we too can find a different path. The void swimmers are not like the chitin, argued Crystal Vareth, his body flashing red with anger. They destroyed our colony on Brightstar. They killed thousands of our people. We destroyed their breeding grounds in the Dark Nebula, Lumera replied calmly. We have hurt each other for so long that we forgot why the fighting started. That moment, urgent signals came from the outer edge of their solar system. A massive asteroid was heading straight for Shardhome. It was too large for their defenses to stop. In 3 days, it would crash into their world and destroy everything. The Prism folk worked frantically to find a solution. But their crystal technology was not designed for such problems. They needed help, but their pride made it difficult too. Then, something unexpected happened. Ships emerged from the darkness of space, not prism ships, but the flowing black vessels of the void swimmers. The same creatures they had been fighting for generations had come to their system. Void Speaker. Nathara contacted the Prism Council directly. Her voice was like wind through empty caves. Crystal people, we have heard of your danger. We offer assistance. The silence that followed lasted for long minutes. Finally, Elder Lumera found her voice. Why would you help us? We are enemies. The humans taught the galaxy a new lesson, Nethera replied. They showed that enemies can become friends if someone is brave enough to try. We are tired of fighting. We are tired of death. Let us work together to save your world. The void swimmers had technology that could manipulate gravity and space itself. Working together, the 2 species managed to redirect the asteroid safely. Away from Shardhome, for the first time in centuries, crystal beings and void creatures stood side by side as allies instead of enemies. On the industrial world of Forge Prime, cybernetic builders had heard similar stories. Their metal bodies were designed for construction and manufacturing, but they had been forced to build weapons instead of peaceful structures because of constant conflicts with the organic. Tree speakers of forest-world.builder Prime Gexen processed the data about the human actions with his computer brain. The logical conclusion was clear. The humans had achieved something that all their calculations said was impossible. They had created peace where only war existed before. Unit Corval, he called to his assistant. Prepare a message for the tree speakers. Tell them we wish to share our construction technology with them. Tell them we want to build something together instead of destroying each other. The tree speakers were suspicious at first. Their living ships and plant-based technology seemed completely opposite to the cold metal of the builders. But when they saw the genuine offer of cooperation, they decided to take the risk. Together. They began constructing something that neither species could have built alone. A massive space station that was part machine and part living organism. It became a symbol of what could be achieved when different forms of life worked together instead of against each other, even in the distant energy reaches, where beings of pure light lived among the stars themselves. Change was happening. The energy beings had never communicated with physical species before. They considered solid matter to be primitive and limiting, but entity of bright thoughts had been observing the human actions with interest. The idea that small physical creatures could show such kindness and wisdom intrigued the energy being. If humans could transform enemies into friends, perhaps energy beings could learn to communicate with physical species. For the first time in cosmic history, pure energy reached out to solid matter. Energy being luminous made contact with a human research station, speaking through radio waves and light patterns, small physical ones, the message said. We have watched your actions with great interest. You have shown that matter and energy can coexist peacefully. We wish to learn more about your concepts of kindness and cooperation. Back on Nixu 7, Engineer Nalash had been promoted to station commander after her new position as chief technology. Officer proved how valuable the human gifts truly were. The station had become completely different from what it was before, where once only Velkans were allowed to hold important positions. Now many species worked together. The energy cores and technology that Hyenwu had given her were being used to help anyone who needed assistance. The station that had once turned away dying humans now welcomed all beings in need. Commander Nalash stood in the main control room, watching ships from dozens of species dock peacefully at her station. Prism folk crystal vessels rested next to void swimmer dark ships. Builder mechanical constructs shared docking space with tree speaker living vessels. Even the mysterious energy beings had established a communication relay on the station. Status report? She asked her second-in-command, a young human named Jinwu, who had volunteered to help improve station operations. All docking bays are full, Commander. We have representatives from 43 different species currently aboard. Trade negotiations are proceeding smoothly, and there have been no conflicts for 6 weeks. Nalash smiled, something she had learned to do from watching humans. 6 months ago, this station was a place of fear and isolation. Now it is a symbol of cooperation. All because one human captain chose to be kind instead of bitter. But not everyone in the galaxy was pleased with these changes. In a hidden base at the edge of known space, shadowy figures gathered around a conference table. These were the leaders of the Dominion Collective, the secret organization that had been manipulating galactic conflicts for thousands of years. Supreme. Commander Vexstar slammed his fist on the table. His species was unknown to most of the galaxy, hidden behind layers of secrecy and deception. The humans are destroying everything we have built. Our profits depend on war and conflict. If all species start cooperating, we will lose our power. The plague weapon failed, reported intelligence. Chief Mordix. Not only did the humans cure it, but they freed the chitin from our control. 3 centuries of careful biological manipulation have been undone. And now the peace is spreading, added strategic planner Colvin. Species that have fought for generations are suddenly working together. Our arms dealers have no customers. Our mercenary companies have no contracts. Our influence is disappearing. Supreme Commander Vexstar stood up slowly. His eyes glowed with cold calculation. Then we will have to eliminate the source of the problem. The humans have made themselves our greatest enemy by teaching others to be peaceful. It is time to show the galaxy what happens to those who threaten our interests. What are your orders, Supreme Commander? Asked Mordix. Prepare the Grand Fleet. We will attack the human homeworld directly. When Earth burns, the other species will remember that kindness is weakness and that only strength matters. The old order will be restored. Back on Nexus 7, Nalash received an urgent message from Velkan intelligence networks. Hidden ships had been detected moving toward human space. Something big was coming, and Earth was the target. She immediately sent word to Captain Hyenwu and his crew. The humans who had started this wave of peace and cooperation were about to face their greatest test. The question was whether the friends they had made across the galaxy would stand with them when the battle came. As Nalash prepared her own response, she remembered the words Hyenwu had spoken months ago. Your kindness will not be forgotten. Now it was time to prove that promise worked both ways. The humans had shown kindness to the galaxy. Now the galaxy would have a chance to show kindness to the humans. The greatest test of their new alliance was about to begin. The alarm bells rang across Earth's orbital defense stations as Admiral Hyenwu studied the incoming threat on his command screen. 1,000 enemy ships were approaching the Sol system in perfect battle formation. The Dominion Collective had brought their entire grand fleet to destroy humanity's homeworld. Admiral, we count over 50 different ship types, reported Captain Jinwoo from the tactical station.
Yes.
These are not from any species we recognize. They have been hiding their true nature for a very long time. Hyenwu nodded grimly. Defenses consisted of only 200 ships, most of them converted cargo vessels like his old soul's dream. Against the Dominion's overwhelming force, they stood no chance in a direct fight. Send a message to all human colonies, he ordered. Tell them to remember what we have learned. Kindness creates strength in ways that weapons cannot. If we die today, we die knowing we chose the right path. Dr. So Young stood beside him on the bridge. She had returned to Earth to help prepare defenses, but they both knew that medicine could not stop this kind of violence. Do you think the other species received our warning messages? She asked quietly. Even if they did, I would not expect them to risk their lives for us. Hyenwu replied honestly. We helped them because it was right, not because we expected payment. Whatever happens now, we face it alone. Engineer Tommen looked up from his console with wonder in his voice. Admiral, I'm detecting new ships entering the system. They're coming from the direction of Velkan space. On the main screen, familiar? Gray warships dropped out of hyperspace. Dozens of them, their hulls bearing the proud symbols of the Velkan clans. Leading them was a massive battleship that Hyenwu recognized immediately. Commander Thekvar's face appeared on the communication screen. His yellow eyes glowed with determination. Admiral Hyenwu, the Velkan Defense Fleet requests permission to join your battle formation. Hyenwu felt his heart leap with surprise and gratitude. Commander, you do not owe us anything. This is not your fight. You are wrong, human friend, Thekvar replied. The humans taught us that true strength comes from protecting others, not conquering them. Today we honor that lesson. Before Hyenwu could respond, more ships began appearing throughout the solar system. The insect-like biovessels of the chitin swarm emerged from the asteroid belt, their living holes glowing with peaceful green light instead of the angry red they once displayed. Queen Mind. Kleter's multiple voices spoke as one across the communication channel. The great swarm comes to defend those who healed our pain. We who were once destroyers now choose to protect. From the outer system came the crystal ships of the Prism Folk, their faceted hulls reflecting starlight and beautiful patterns. Elder, Lumera's voice chimed like music. The humans showed us that enemies can become friends. Now friends must stand together. The dark vessels of the Void Swimmers materialized from empty space itself, moving like liquid shadows between the other ships. Void Speaker Netheris whispered words carried across all frequencies. We who dwell in darkness come to bring light to this battle. More ships continued to arrive. The mechanical constructs of the builders flew in perfect geometric formations. The living vessels of the tree speakers moved like great sea creatures through the void. Species that had fought each other for centuries now flew side by side in defense of humanity. Admiral Hyenwu stared at the growing fleet in amazement. How many ships do we have now? He asked. Over 3,000 and still counting, Jinwoo reported with excitement. Sir, this is the largest cooperative fleet in galactic history. But the most amazing arrival came last. Pure light began to shimmer in space around Earth itself. The energy beings of the Nebula Reach had come, manifesting their consciousness as brilliant shields of living energy that surrounded human cities and space stations. Entity, of bright thoughts, spoke directly into the minds of everyone present. Physical beings taught us the value of cooperation. We who are energy join with those who are matter to defend what is right. Supreme Commander Vextar watched this impossible gathering from his flagship with growing alarm. His perfect plan was falling apart. The Dominion had always succeeded by keeping species divided and suspicious of each other. But now the galaxy had united against them. Supreme Commander, his tactical officer, reported nervously, "We are outnumbered 3-1. Recommend we withdraw and reassess." Oh, Vextar snarled. "We retreat now, and we lose everything. The entire galaxy will know that cooperation is stronger than domination. Order all ships to attack. Destroy the human world and scatter their allies." The Dominion fleet charged forward, their black ships bristling with weapons that had conquered countless worlds. But they faced something they had never encountered before, an alliance built not on fear or greed, but on genuine friendship and mutual respect. The battle began with the Dominion's overwhelming firepower crashing into the energy shields created by the beings of pure light. Instead of breaking through, as expected, their weapons were absorbed and redirected back at them. Velkin warships fought alongside reformed chitin biovessels, their different technologies complementing each other perfectly. Crystal ships reflected and amplified energy blasts, while void ships moved through space in ways that confused enemy targeting systems. The builders had shared their defensive technology with everyone, creating a network of interconnected shields that grew stronger when ships worked together instead of fighting alone. The tree speakers used their living vessels to heal damaged allied ships during the battle. Admiral Hyenwu found himself commanding not just human forces, but coordinating. With dozens of different species and tactical approaches, it should have been impossible to manage such diversity, but somehow it worked. Each species contributed their unique strengths while covering for others' weaknesses. Admiral Dr. Soyoung observed, "They are fighting like a single organism. Different parts of the same body." That is exactly what they are, Hyenwu realized. They are not just allies anymore. They have become something new, a galactic family. The Dominion forces, despite their superior individual ships, could not match the coordination and cooperation of the Allied fleet. Their commanders were used to enemies who fought each other as much as they fought the Dominion. But these allies truly trusted each other. When Velkin ships ran low on energy, Prism Folk vessels shared their power. When chitin bioships were damaged, builder mechanical units provided instant repairs. When human ships were outnumbered, void swimmers appeared from nowhere to even the odds. Supreme Commander Vextar watched his forces being systematically defeated by an enemy that should not have been able to work together. In desperation, he ordered his flagship to ram directly into Earth itself. If he could not win the battle, he would at least destroy the human homeworld. But Queen Mind, Clactor and her chitin bioships intercepted his ship before it could reach Earth. The same creatures that had once been the galaxies' greatest threat now gave their lives to protect the world of their former enemies. "You taught us that every life has value," Clactor said as her damaged ship held Vextar's vessel away from Earth. "Now we prove we learned that lesson." The Dominion flagship exploded harmlessly in space, taking with it the last hope of those who profited from galactic conflict. When the battle ended, the surviving Dominion forces surrendered without conditions. For the first time in thousands of years, the hidden manipulators who had caused so much suffering were defeated. 3 months later, the first Galactic Cooperation Council met on a space station built jointly by all species. The station itself was a marvel, combining crystal technology, living bioarchitecture, energy being interfaces, and dozens of other innovations. Commander Nalash, now serving as the first galactic ambassador, stood before representatives of every known species. "We gather here because the humans taught us something that changed everything. They showed us that the strongest force in the universe is not gravity or nuclear fusion or even the energy beings themselves. It is the decision to help someone who cannot help you back." In the observer section, Admiral Hyenwu sat quietly. with Dr. Soyoung and engineer Taemin. They were still just humans who had once nearly died in a broken cargo ship. But their simple choice to show kindness had created something beautiful beyond their wildest dreams. "Do you think we really changed the galaxy?" Soyoung asked quietly. "We showed them what was already there," Hyun-woo replied. "Every species had the capacity for kindness. They just needed someone to prove it was possible." Taemin smiled as he watched former enemies working together to solve galactic problems. And now, they are teaching others. The kindness keeps spreading. The council session continued. Delegates announced new cooperative projects. Former war zones were being turned into research stations. Species that had never communicated before were sharing knowledge and culture. The galaxy was healing from centuries of unnecessary conflict. Nalush concluded her speech with words that would be remembered for generations. The humans learned something too in this journey. They discovered that kindness given freely always returns, multiplied, though never in the ways you expect. Today we are all proof of that truth. Outside the great windows of the council chamber, ships from hundreds of worlds moved peacefully through space. Crystal vessels danced within,